Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo, and my God, this is the 20th episode of Codo Cinema. Can't you believe that? It's almost a full year doing the Codo's Cinema podcast, and this is my 20th episode. And I believe that is a good thing, right? Yeah? I couldn't believe it either. So, anyway, first and foremost, Randall Becker couldn't be here today, so I'm covering him today for this episode of Codo Cinema. So, anyway, today I am going to count down my top 10 live-action Disney remakes. Oh boy, that's right, folks. I'm bringing in the live-action remakes of our favorite Disney classic films. So it's basically the ones that bring in the nostalgia. Okay, I know. So anyway, just to be clear, I am only singling out remakes, not continuations, unless they fall into some follow-ups or anything. But anyway, so don't expect to hear 2018's Mary Poppins Returns on this list, or live-action animated hybrids like 2016's Pete's Dragon, or any live-action Disney remakes that are made for TV. So no 2019 Kim Possible movie. And before I start, say what you will about these remakes, but I think there are some good exceptions to good live-action Disney remakes. Especially the fact that the 2020 live-action Disney remake of Mulan will be coming out next week. So let's see. We'll see what happens. So anyway, grab some popcorn and wish upon a star because it's time for the wonderful world of today's episode of Codo's Cinema. Number 10, 102 Dalmatians. I was very hesitant to put in the live-action remake of 101 Dalmatians as my number 10 spot. However, kicking off this list is 102 Dalmatians. And I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I grew up watching 102 Dalmatians when I was a little kid, and I thought it was a pretty good film. Believe me, it was actually a pretty good film. I know a lot of people were split on this film due to the fact that it's a sequel to 101 Dalmatians, the live-action remake version. While the film may not hold up to the original 101 Dalmatians and its live-action remake, this film had some pretty good moments, from the music score by David Newman, costume designs, the dogs themselves, including the Dalmatian dog, himself or herself or something. I forgot. But anyway, the Dalmatian dog's name was Oddball. I still remember. And believe me, to be fair, I pretty much love Oddball in this movie. Probably one of my favorite Dalmatian dogs in 102 Dalmatians. And who can forget Eric Idle's portrayal of the parrot Waddlesworth? By the way, the parrot still cracks me up to this day. Dogs don't fly. See? until he flies somewhere in the end of the movie. So that's some pretty funny moments in there. However, the only thing that I could single out here as one of the greatest moments of 102 Dalmatians, including the 101 Dalmatians, is Glenn Close's portrayal as Cruella de Vil. Glenn Close literally owned the role of this classic Disney villain and puts in a fantastic performance as Cruella de Vil. She did an amazing job in both 101 Dalmatians and 102 Dalmatians. She literally did an amazing job in 102 Dalmatians as well. So anyway, that's what I got for 102 Dalmatians. So anyway, on to my next entry, number 9, Dumbo, the 2019 remake one. Quick question: who hasn't seen an elephant fly, huh? Anyway, 2019 was basically a huge year for live-action Disney remakes, and Dumbo is no exception. Directed by Tim Burton, this film extends the 61-minute runtime from its 1941 counterpart to a 112-minute live-action film. So basically a film that is almost 2 hours. I'll admit, 2019's Dumbo did try to go in a different direction instead of a shot-for-shot remake, but the execution was a little off, despite a very good ambitious move. I mean, many people praise this movie for its ambition, despite the lack of heart from the original. I mean, that is true. Sometimes some remakes can lack the heart of the original. But it's not a bad idea going into a different direction, just as long as it's close to the source material. So anyway, yes, I know the execution was a little off, but I thought the film was okay. I mean, the art direction was good, to the CGI Dumbo, Danny Elfman's musical score, including the performances of Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Colin Farrell, and Eva Green. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is not the only film that Tim Burton directed on this list, so you'll probably hear more of him later on. So, on to my next entry. Number 8, The Lion King. Speaking of shot for shot, 2019's The Lion King, directed by Jon Favreau, did certainly that, and many people can tell right away as the film started, including the first trailer. While not a bad remake, I mean, The Lion King's not bad. I mean, I can see why a lot of people pointed out the shot-for-shot remake moments, but a lot of people took aim at this film because of the photorealistic animals lacking the facial emotions. I mean, it's a live-action remake. I mean, yeah, okay, well, I can see what they're saying, but I thought the photorealistic animals were pretty good. I thought they were pretty good. I mean, the visual effects, the CGI and visual effects were actually pretty good in this movie. I'll be honest with you, it was pretty good. Well, anyway, but be that as it may, but I thought the film was pretty good. From the cast that includes Donald Glover as Simba, Beyonce as Nala, Seth Rogen as Pumbaa, Billy Eichner as Timon, Chiwetel Ejiofor, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, as Scar, and the return of James Earl Jones as Mufasa. This is probably one of the first few remakes where one of the original actors from the original 1994 animated film the same name returns to voice the original character, which I think is probably amazing. Like, it's amazing that we get back one of the greatest voice actors of all time to portray Mufasa, which I think was actually great. James Earl Jones as Mufasa was one of the few great moments in this live action remake, plus the 1994 animated movie of the same name. So moving on, while the film did add in a couple of new moments to the film, most notably Nala's escape from Pride Rock, but I wish there was more to this film. I mean, to be fair, I wish there was more to this film. I mean, like I said, they added a few new moments to the film, despite almost everything being shot for shot. But, however, the performances were good, visual effects were great, and the music score by Hans Zimmer with Elton John's songs returning to the Pride is certainly entertaining. Plus, this film was also nominated for the Oscar for Best Visual Effects, and it sadly lost out to 1917 at the 2020 Academy Awards. So, I mean, at least it did get a nomination. So, yeah, all right. Number 7, Aladdin. People said they want to see the genie in a live-action Disney remake of Aladdin. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it. Well, probably from the first trailer and first couple of trailers, yeah, I guess a lot of people kind of thought about the CGI genie. But anyway, I thought Will Smith as the genie was pretty good. He won't top Robin Williams' performance as the genie, but I think Will Smith did a pretty good job on his own take. So anyway, I had a few doubts about this film, the 2019 Aladdin remake, because here's the thing: there were other live-action Disney remakes coming out, most notably The Lion King, Dumbo, and the Lady and the Tramp movie, plus Aladdin. So I wasn't really sure how they're going to do that. But after watching this film, I thought I thought the 2019 Aladdin movie was pretty good, despite the flaws it has. Will Smith went from being the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to the genie, and his performance was pretty good, while paying homage to Robin Williams. I mean, like I said, he won't top Robin Williams' performance as the genie, but at least Will Smith gave it his own, which I think is actually pretty good. I mean, yeah, you guys could tell that the CGI effects were a little off, but aside from that, I thought the performances from Will Smith, Naomi Scott, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Mena Massoud's performance as Aladdin was pretty good. While the film did deviate a little bit from the 1992 original, particularly Jafar's characterization, particularly the characterization of Jafar, this live-action remake still delivers well in terms of entertaining. So hey, you ain't never got a friend like me, folks. But anyway, this film is enjoyable. I mean, yeah, there were flaws in the film. I mean, Guy Ritchie actually directed this film, and to be fair, yes, there were moments in the film, but I feel like the film itself is actually pretty good, depending on how you guys look at it. But anyway, I wish I could talk more. But on to my next film, number 6, Alice in Wonderland, the 2010 live-action remake. While not the first live-action remake, but it is considered to be the first live-action Disney remake since 2000's 102 Dalmatians. Tim Burton steps into Wonderland, who brought in a visually stunning remake of the 1951 original. The film follows Alice, played by Mia Wasikowska, if I'm saying her name correctly, as she travels to Wonderland and meets up with characters like the Mad Hatter, played by Johnny Depp, the Caterpillar, played by Alan Rickman, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, played by Matt Lucas, the Red Queen, played by Helena Bonham Carter, and many, many, many more characters. Including Christopher Lee's portrayal of the Jabberwocky, and including Danny Elfman's musical score for the film. Man, talk about actor and director collaboration. Speaking of which, Tim Burton has collaborated with a lot of great actors and composers throughout most of his films, particularly Johnny Depp. And I think Johnny Depp's performance as the Mad Hatter was pretty good. I mean, yeah, the film was a little more dark than the original, despite the original being more let's just say a little more wonderish or something. So yeah. But anyway, I thought this remake was actually pretty good. I mean, it wasn't just a typical remake. It was more of a follow-up, because Alice in this movie is basically an adult or a teenager, I should say. She's more of a young adult in this movie, while in the original she was more of a child, which kind of makes sense. This is like almost a film that is basically made almost 50 to 60 years in the making, but this movie still serves as a remake, so it's technically a follow-up. So yeah, many people still see Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland as a remake, so the same goes with Alice in the Looking Glass as well. But anyway, I enjoyed the 2010 version of Alice in Wonderland, which I think is actually pretty good. So anyway, moving on. Number 5, Cinderella, the 2015 live-action remake. 2015's Cinderella is one of the live-action Disney remakes that remains faithful to the source material while adding in some new elements. The film stars Lily James as Cinderella and Kate Blanchett as the evil stepmother. Man, I think both of these characters were pretty good in this movie. Both Lily James and Kate Blanchett were pretty good in this movie. So anyway, speaking of this movie was directed by Kenneth Branagh, who you may recognize from his directed films such as the remake of Murder on the Orient Express, including his portrayal of Gilderoy Lockhart in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, including his directorial film, including his film, the very first Thor movie. Speaking of which, in case you guys don't know, Kenneth Branagh directed the first Thor movie back in 2011. So technically he knows what he's doing. And I thought the direction of Cinderella was pretty good, with X-Men producers Simon Kinberg producing. I'm pretty sure I'm seeing some Marvel connections in the Cinderella movie. Oh wait, I'm pretty sure there is. But anyway, I thought the film was good while remaining faithful to the original 1951 animated classic of the same name. So there's something. So basically, there is something to like. Yeah. Okay, moving forward. Number 4, Beauty and the Beast. Tale as old as time, Beauty and the Beast takes the number 4 spot on this list. Starring Emma Watson as Belle and Dan Stevens as the Beast, this is another live-action remake that remains faithful to the 1991 animated classic of the same name, while adding in elements from the Broadway musical, including some new songs. Actually, this film did had its moments of shot-for-shot remakes, but the film did add in the Broadway musical moments to it. So basically, I think this is one of the few live-action Disney remakes that was basically combined shot-for-shot remake and part Broadway. So basically, both of them are combined, which I think is actually pretty good. Although some said that it did deviate from the original, including some of the character designs. But I thought the 2017 live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast was good. The performances of Emma Watson and Dan Stevens was good, including Ian McKellen's portrayal as Cogsworth, Ewan McGregor's performance as Lumiere, which I think both of them did a pretty good job in that film, including Emma Thompson's portrayal as Mrs. Potts, which I think was which I thought was pretty good. Like I said, I know the 2017 live action remake of Beauty and the Beast did deviated from the original, but it still serves as a very good live action Disney remake to watch. Okay, moving forward. Number 3, Christopher Robin. Deep in the 100-acre woods where Christopher Robin plays. That's right, folks. Oh boy. Here we go, folks. I'm sorry, I had to let it out, people. Childhood memories of Winnie the Pooh are coming back. They're here. Forgive me, please. This film is basically a follow-up to A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh franchise, but it still serves as a live-action remake, in similar cases to Tim Burton's remake of Alice in Wonderland. However, this film tells Christopher Robin's side of the story as an adult, played by Ewan McGregor. So basically, it tells Christopher Robin's side of the story as Christopher Robin leaves 100-acre woods to go to boarding school. However, he begins to take on the real world issues as an adult, which is basically leaving his childhood memories behind. This film is basically a throwback to your childhood memories, and this proves that adults still have an inner childhood memory, which I think was probably one of the few meanings behind this movie, because Christopher Robin still has his childhood moments with Winnie the Pooh, to which Jim Cummings, who voices Winnie the Pooh in the other adaptations of Winnie the Pooh, returns to voice Winnie the Pooh once again as the silly old bear. Get it? Silly old bear himself. And by the way, yes, I think this movie, Christopher Robin, is a great movie. Oh man, watching this film, it brings you back so many good childhood memories. Like, the nostalgia is hitting hard. I do like the childhood moments. But anyway, both Jim Cummings and Ewan McGregor put up a pretty good performance, and their chemistry in this movie was very good. And speaking of Ewan McGregor played Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, and that is right, yes. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people are poking fun of this movie, making memes of the fact that probably there was one of the few memes from Christopher Robin where where Ewan McGregor's Christopher Robin's basically Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then like Winnie the Pooh was like telling him like General Kenobi. That's one of the few memes I actually saw online, but there's probably going to be a boatload of memes from the Christopher Robin movie due to the fact that Ewan McGregor is in this movie. So, yeah, I know. But like I said, Christopher Robin, great movie. One of the great movies. I wish this was my number one, but there's actually a few others that are topping my number one spot. But anyway, on to number two. Number two, The Jungle Book. When I started making this list, I thought that The Jungle Book would be my number one. However, my number one entry will be coming up pretty soon, and it'll probably be a surprise. So anyway, a few years before Jon Favreau stepped onto Pride Rock to direct 2019's Lion King movie, he directed The Jungle Book. 2016's Jungle Book is considered by many people to be one of the best live-action Disney remakes due to the faithfulness of the source material compared to his 1967 animated film of the same name. To me, this is by far the best remake. The best remake in terms of faithfulness. The film features the extensive use of CGI for his animals and locations, which actually makes sense because most of the animals in this movie are CGI. The performances include performances of Bill Murray as Baloo, Idris Elba as the villainous Shere Khan, Ben Kingsley as Bagheera, Scarlett Johansson as Kaa, and Christopher Walken as King Louie. Basically, is an all-star cast in this movie, which I think was actually pretty good. This is actually the Jungle Book live-action remake is literally a great movie to watch. I mean, it did juggle between different tones in this film, but I still enjoyed the 2016 live-action remake of The Jungle Book, and I think Jon Favreau did a very good job in this film. Speaking of which, the 2016 Jungle Book movie won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, beating out 2016's Doctor Strange for its visual effects. So technically, the CGI animals were pretty good in this movie. So, yep. All right, folks, on to my number one entry. And do you guys think you know what it is? No? Well, here we go. Number one, Maleficent. Well. Taking the top spot on this list is the film that is being told through a villain's point of view. That is right, folks. 2014's Maleficent. I am going to be very honest with you guys. This is one of the few live-action Disney remakes where we get to see an origin story of one of our greatest Disney villains of all time. Angelina Jolie steps in to play Maleficent, one of the greatest Disney villains of all time, while bringing in the origin story of how Maleficent became the villain that we know and love today. And yes, this does tell us the story. And while the film does jump into the Sleepy Beauty story in the middle of the film, Maleficent is one of those films that really is being told from a villain's point of view. And I consider Maleficent to be the best live-action remake out of all the other live-action Disney remakes. And still, this is still a great live-action Disney remake. Yes. they did deviate a little bit from the film. The story itself was a little weak, but it's still a great film. You can tell of what we're watching in Maleficent because we are seeing what Maleficent was like before she became a villain. And what happened, why was she the villain in the first place? In similar cases to 2019's Joker, we get to see, and going off topic, we get to see why Joker became the villain in the first place. In same cases to Maleficent. Maleficent became the villain in the first place, spoiler alert, because she was betrayed by her lover, Prince, by the young Prince Stefan, who basically cut off her wings because of the fact that she attacked the kingdom. But anyway, this is she lost her wings, but she goes out for revenge. That is why she becomes the villain, and that's why she became the villain, because she was once a fairy, but her wings were taken away because of betrayal. That's basically like something that is being betrayed. Talk about talk about turning the back from talking about a love story being turned away. This is like one of the few remakes where they actually pull something off for a villain, which still Angelina Jolie still delivers pretty well in Maleficent. And the art direction was great. The costumes were great, including the makeup. I mean, some of the visual effects were a little off, but at least most of them were pretty good. Ella Fanning's performance as Sleepy Beauty was great as well. And I have yet to see the sequel to Maleficent, but anyway, I'm pretty sure that one's also pretty good too. So anyway, there you have it, folks. That is my top 10 live-action Disney remakes. What do you guys think? Do you think I should have ranked them a little differently? I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are saying something like, "Why isn't Jungle Book my number one entry?" Well, like I said, that is basically my own opinion. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think some of the Disney live action remakes are good? Are you guys looking forward to 2020's Mulan Disney remake? You guys think so? Well, we'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in to Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo, and for those of you who are watching, for those of you who are tuning in, thank you for tuning in to today's episode. But anyway, and I hopefully hoping to be here again next after spring break, because I know the fact that there has been a lot of cancellations and extensions due to the virus that is being spread. But anyway, here's a little tip for you guys. Stay safe. Be careful of where you guys are traveling over spring break, but remember to have fun. Just be careful of what's going on due to the fact of the virus that is being spread. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in to Codo's Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo. I'll see you guys after spring break. Have a good spring break. Stay safe. Remember to wash your hands. Have a good Thursday afternoon. Have a good Thursday afternoon. Stay dry due to the rain that is pouring down. But anyway, have a great spring break, and tune in next time for Codo's Cinema after spring break. So, bye.